Yeah.
Cool. So thank you so much everyone for joining for today's session. So we have with us Ankit. Ankit is one of the thought leader in the blockchain space. Check his LinkedIn. I think he regularly keeps posting about how to start a career in Web3, how to get into blockchain, about solidity. So we will unravel like most of the topics and a lot of topics today, hearing from Ankit. Just to get started, my name is Kiran. If you don't know me, I'm the co-founder of Web3 Learn. Web3 Learn is a blockchain skilling platform where we help folks teach blockchain programming, primarily Solidity, basic, intermediate, and advanced level. The way how we do it is we train developers. At the same time, we encourage them to do the projects as part of the cohort. And our ultimate goal is to place the developers in some of the protocols and companies. So we have collaborations with almost 30 companies now, and we are actively growing on that level as well. So if you are looking to learn a Solidity course, we'll be launching a gaming course this weekend, by the way. So if you are very passionate about learning Solidity or any gaming course, feel free to hit our Discord and then join and start learning. On that note, welcome once again, Ankit.
Thank you.
So I'll leave the floor to you to get started and give you a brief intro about yourself and a little
Yeah,
bit about background.
sure. First of all, thanks a lot for hosting me and hosting all of us, Kiran. Thanks for giving us this opportunity to connect. So, starting about myself, I am actually a management professional turned blockchain developer. And like every Indian kid, I studied engineering and MBA, which is mandatory. And then after that, like I worked for 5 years in three different companies, doing three different jobs. I was into like sales and finance and analytics. I didn't like any of. I mean, I wasn't either. I wasn't good at any of those, or I didn't like any of those. So I was a little lost. Like after like 5 years of working in corporate, so it was in 2020 during the pandemic that I got some time to read about other stuff as well. So one day I came across this article about blockchain. Before that, I had no idea what blockchain is. I thought that blockchain is equal to Bitcoin, and I thought that I'll never be able to buy Bitcoin because it's too expensive. Until I learned that I can still buy like 0.0001 of Bitcoin, which I could afford. So I jumped down the rabbit hole, and then I started investing. Then I came across other currencies as well. What is Ethereum, Polygon? It was Matic at the time, Avalanche, etc. And when I got to read about more of this stuff, like what blockchain does, especially what Ethereum blockchain is, what smart contracts are, what Web 3.0 is, what a DApp is, and how it's going to revolutionize the world of internet, that's when I was convinced that this is something that I would like to make my career in. First of all, because I loved reading about it, and I thought that I'll be good at it as well. Because it combined like coding plus like financial markets, which were the two areas I always liked. And a third, like it I thought that it is going to change the world, so like it's a good time to dive into it now. So in 2021 I left my job, and then I took a break for 3 months. So I wouldn't advise everyone, if you are, if you're trying to dive into the Web3 world, I wouldn't advise everyone to leave their job and study. For that, you can do it along with your job as well, but I had some backup, so that I could afford that luxury. So I left my job. I like took a break for 3 months. So I self-taught myself everything from scratch. I learned web development first of all, because I didn't have any background in it. I learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Solidity, React, etc. Then I got a chance in a startup based in US as a smart contract developer. And then since then, like I've been working on multiple other projects as well. I work as a blockchain developer as well as a blockchain consultant for some of the startups. I also have my own course with a BitClass website, so I have my own course as well. I also do content writing as well for some of the platforms. Also, I do writing for my LinkedIn page as well. So I have, I write almost every day, one post about one complex topic, and I try to explain it in very layman terms. So I mean, I've been loving this journey like since last 1 year or 2 years, I would say. Since 2 years, I've been learning about this, and since 1 year, I've been working full time into it. So it's been a great journey till now. Like I've been doing different things here. I'm learning a lot. So yeah, this is and now I have decided that since now I have learned at least the basics, it's time to also teach others. So I have my own course and I write as well. So yeah, this is about me, Kiran. uh yeah.
No, I mean, what a journey, man. I mean, like I think I should say you are truly in the people say the okay, I'm going down the rabbit hole of Web3, right? I think you're truly in the rabbit hole of Web3 now. Super awesome journey, right? From humanities, MBA, all the way to no coding experience and getting started with the basic concepts in Web 2 and then deep diving into Solidity and picking up gigs. That's an interesting part. And the best part is you're giving back to the community, which is the very sweet and interesting part of Web3, right? I
Yeah.
think we've been fortunate to host like a lot of folks as part of our series, and this is one another extraordinary journey, that we're hearing today. Awesome. So I think with lots to unravel there, then Ankit, I think most of the folks actually fall into kind of the target user group. I would say, let me put it this way, right? 95% of the target user group are from non-tech background. They're like
Yeah.
super passionate about Web3. They wanted to
Yeah.
get into the Web3, but the
Yeah.
problem at this point of time is, internet is filled with a lot of jargon, lot of
Yeah.
content. Like, everyone talks about, okay, you open
Yeah.
the Twitter thread and then like people talk about how to get into Web3 world, right? So Twitter feeds are filled with that, right?
Yeah.
So I want to take the user person as you today, so someone from no coding experience, no technical background, like, coming from a
Yeah.
pure humanities, finance background. How should one get started to start it, right? What should be the starting point? What should be the one thing that they should pick up on day zero, and how should they start building?
Yeah, so if you want to self teach yourself Web3, which most of the people do, so you can do it with internet. Like you just need Google and YouTube and maybe some courses on Udemy, because like Udemy is like out of 365 days a year, for 300 days it's on sale, so you can like buy courses under 500 rupees. And if you can't spend even that, you can learn for free on YouTube and Google. The only thing is that right now, if you Google the definition of blockchain on Google, so chances are you won't understand most of the words, because there's a lot of jargon and technical terms used there. So you'll have to refer to a lot of resources, right? So you'll have to refer to a lot of resources in order to finally understand what it is. Unless you find a very structured, playlist in a YouTube, or if you find a very good Udemy course. If somebody wants to ask like some good Udemy courses, I can suggest that. Yeah, so that is the problem, but you'll have to at least refer to a few good resources to understand what it exactly is. One of the good YouTube channels that I recommend to everyone is like Whiteboard Crypto. So this is one good YouTube channel. It explains all the basics of different concepts related to blockchain with analogies and animation, so it's easy to understand. So that is one good source I can suggest. Plus, read news about what's happening. So more you read about Web3, more you will understand. Learn to use the tools like how a basic crypto wallet works, how the NFT marketplace works, how a decentralized exchange works. For invest in like a very little amount in crypto, just to understand it. So invest if you don't want to like invest, you can just at least invest something like a few hundreds or 1,000 rupees, just to understand what it is, so it will be a good learning. So yeah, I mean, internet, you can learn everything from internet. Plus you can also follow me on LinkedIn. So there also I teach all the concepts in a very layman term. So if you see, go to my profile and look at all my posts from the beginning onwards. I started posting like from February, last week of February onwards. If you start following all my posts from there, you will get to learn a lot from there as well. I try to explain everything in very layman terms. So yeah, I mean, Web3 is, uh, you don't need to be scared of it. In the beginning it might, seem difficult, but once you start diving deeper into it, you will get a hang of it.
Yeah, yeah, cool. So I actually want to go further deep into like what you mentioned.
Yeah.
So our target audience group are mostly developers, right?
Okay.
I think most of them are cognizant of the Web3 concepts, like what is happening, what are
Yeah.
these coins, protocols,
Yeah.
different concepts in DeFi, NFT. They're super passionate about, like, let me put it this way, right? They are all builders, they are actually
Yeah.
looking to learn stuff and then get started, start building projects. So talking from the developmental angle, right? Um, uh, what you mentioned is great, but like if you go take a step further, say at a 5,000 foot or a 2,000 foot level, where
Yeah.
should one get started? In terms of which programming language to choose, and
Okay.
how should they
Okay.
start going about it, and how should they start
Okay.
dedicating time towards each one of the stuff?
Okay. Okay. Got it. So in terms of development, you first need to, first of all, as I said, you need to understand different concepts of blockchain. Once you understand that, right, then you need to choose which blockchain you need to develop on. So there are different categories of blockchain. So one is like Ethereum family of blockchain. So there's Ethereum, which uses EVM, as its base, and the programming language uses Solidity. So if you want to code on Ethereum blockchain or Binance chain or Polygon, Avalanche, Phantom, all these belong to the family of Ethereum. So for that you need to learn Solidity, right? So if you learn, and this is most popular, like maybe like 80-90%, I'm not sure what, but like majority of the developers code with Solidity, and majority of the job offers also require Solidity, right? Because EVM based chains are most popular. Then of late Solana has also become very popular. So for that you need to use Rust coding language. So these are the most popular languages. Either you learn Solidity and code on Ethereum family of blockchains, or you learn Rust, and you can code on Solana. But like the job, opportunities in that, in terms of quantity, might be lesser as compared to Solidity jobs. So yeah, these are the two most popular languages. Other than that, you also need to use multiple frameworks like Web3.js for connecting your smart contract to the front end, or like Ethers.js. Two are the major libraries for connecting your smart contract to front end. And you need to use some tools like Truffle or Hard Hat for deploying and testing your smart contract. There's also like a Remix, which is a web-based IDE for deploying smart contracts. Yeah, so these are the tools that you need to learn. Plus, not just coding, you should also understand like how the entire ecosystem works. For example, how major dApps, like how OpenSea works. How do you create a smart contract, NFT smart contract, and use it with OpenSea? How do you use a decentralized exchange? How do you use different DeFi apps? So you also need to learn that. Plus, you need to be aware about the latest happening and news in the industry. So you also need to follow the news. So it's not just about coding. It's also about being aware about the industry and how different apps work. And over and above all, like if you are a programmer, you also need to be a very good communicator. You need to be able to explain what your code does to the stakeholders. So if you are very good at coding skills, but you are not that great at explaining your code or your communication skills, so that you might face some problems going ahead in your career. So also work on your communication and network skills. So it's a wholesome game if you want to be here.
Got it. Awesome.
Somebody's
Okay.
asked in the chat that can you please tell a good source to get the news related to
Yeah.
Web3? So for myself, I use two resources. One is a YouTube channel called Altcoin Daily. So that is a great YouTube channel for your daily news. Plus, I go through a newsletter every day from cryptonews.com. Cryptonews.com. So they send you a newsletter every day from Monday to Friday with three major news of the day. So that also I read. So, and Cointelegraph is also one good website. Like if you want to dive into more deeper on the articles, plus you can read some articles on Medium as well. But like Altcoin Daily and CryptoNews.com are the two resources I suggest. I also listen to the podcast from CryptoNews.com. They are very very good podcast series as well. So you can just find a few on Spotify, so you can refer to those as well.
Cool, awesome. I think I'd like to add two more, which I regularly follow. One is Bankless. Bankless, I think,
Yeah.
is one of the best resources that I have come across so far, especially for the overall crypto. And I'll put those links in the chat. And then with regards to the DeFi, it is Defiant, Defiant.io. So
Okay.
that's the super best resource for the DeFi space. Cool, awesome. Ankit, this is super great. So let's deep dive into your journey so far, especially in the
Yeah.
Web3 space. So you self-learned yourself, you self-taught yourself about different programming stuff, and then like you actually got a gig as well, right? And you said like
Yeah.
you became a smart contract engineer in one of the company for
Yeah.
a US based company. So how did
Yeah.
that transition happen? In the sense, like, what are like one to two or one, two, three things that you did, and
Yeah.
how did you get that job? Because I think there are two components to it, right? One is people learn and people who are passionate wanted to start building, projects, and they go through that route. The
Yeah.
other route is, not everyone might be passionate about building projects on their own, but they would like to
Yeah.
contribute to the existing projects, whether it is infrastructure projects or decentralized applications. So
Yeah.
I think larger chunk falls into the second category. So would love to learn your journey and any tips for the community here on how should they
Yeah.
get started if they're thinking through getting a offer from a blockchain company.
Yeah. So first of all, learn the basics, because right now getting a job in any Web3 company as a smart contract developer is very easy, because the demand is very high and supply is quite less. And last year it was like even the odds were even better, because it was 2021 and there were a lot of companies hiring. It was still the bull cycle at that time. Right? It was still a bull market going on. A lot of companies were hiring smart contract developers, and there was very less supply because there was less awareness about these kind of jobs. So I learned the basics of Solidity and web development, and I created actually a few sample projects, very basic projects like basic smart contracts, basic to intermediate level, and some of the demo websites, right? So I created it and I put it in my GitHub, and I just put that GitHub link on my CV, and I share apply to different jobs on LinkedIn. So if you just go to LinkedIn, go to their job section, just search like Solidity developer or smart contract developer or blockchain developer, and you will get multiple vacancies there, and you can just easy apply. You don't even have to fill any details of your previous work years or education. Most of them, like 90% of them, are easy apply jobs. So you just upload your CV and you apply there. So that's how I got my first job. I got multiple interviews, and then I got I chose one one company to work for. So yeah, that was my journey. I just learned the basics. I created a few basic projects and I applied on LinkedIn. Today, like if you want, maybe it might not be that easy. You'll have to create like good projects, and you have to apply to a lot of jobs on LinkedIn itself. Plus, if you write some content on LinkedIn, so for example, whatever you have learned, like, so if you're learning Solidity, just start writing on LinkedIn. You'll get noticed. At least people will notice that you're passionate about this field. So I always encourage everyone to create content as well. It doesn't have to be anything extraordinary. You can just summarize whatever you have learned for today, and you can just educate others. People will learn it. Even founders or the recruiters who are hiring for it, they will take notice of you, and they might reach you by themselves. You won't even have to apply for a job. So yeah, these are the things you can do to get a job in Web3.
No, again, super awesome. I think, yeah, at our community, we encourage folks actually to create their Twitter profiles and LinkedIn profiles and kind
Yeah.
of revamp their those profiles and also GitHub profiles on day one, right? Because that's more important. Like, push all the projects and your repos to your GitHub, and that becomes like your CV for any Web3
Yeah.
job. Cool. So, any particular websites that you recommend as of today, for folks to look into the Web3 jobs? You said you applied on multiple websites
LinkedIn.
before. LinkedIn.
I have only used LinkedIn. Like I haven't used anything else. There are a few other websites. I think cryptojobs.com maybe. So you can just Google it. But like LinkedIn is best, like because you can connect with the recruiters on a personal level. You can just message them. So LinkedIn works best for me. I haven't used any other website, to be honest. If you want to do freelancing as well, you can go to Fiverr and Upwork. Maybe you can try a few a few projects. Maybe you can work with some freelancer who is already senior and working into it. If you're not getting job, you can work with a freelancer. Just approach a freelancer on Fiverr and Upwork and offer him, if not for any stipend, just work for free on at least a couple of projects. So that will give you a good exposure of how to create the crypto projects. And if you mention it in your CV, it will be great for your credibility as well. So I mean, opportunities are endless. You just need to find a way how to create a credibility and how to reach out to the right people.
I literally love the word credibility there, so yeah, build your profile primarily, right? Either through
Yeah.
projects, content, reaching out to folks, and then offering services for free might be initially to start with. There are multiple ways that you could approach, into landing a career in Web3. Okay, cool. On that note, Ankit, I want to touch on two more topics. Um, how do you see the Web3 industry shaping up, especially from the Indian context? So, what are the opportunities that you are seeing, and how did when you started like 2 years ago and you went deep dive into this space around 2021? So,
Yeah.
in the last 1 year, how have things changed? You touched on that aspect a little bit, but like what are the opportunities that are shaping up in the Indian Web3 ecosystem, and how does the future look like, say, for the next
Yeah.
6 months down the line? We cannot talk about 1 year because things change at a very fast pace, but like
Yeah.
6 months down the line, what are some of the opportunities and how should people start prepping themselves for that?
Yeah. The biggest advantage India has, that we have a big pipeline of IT talent, and like a lot of them just can just move to Web3. So Web3 is not any entirely new skill, that you'll have to learn from scratch. Even if you're a Web2 developer, you know how to create the front end or the back end of a website. You just need to add an additional component. You just need to add additional skill called smart contract development, and you become a Web3 developer, because the Web3 requires all the three things: front end, back end, plus an additional layer of smart contracts that talks to the blockchain, right? So it's not an entirely new skills, and we already have a big pipeline of IT talent. So that is one thing. If you look at all the major projects across the world, so their teams are like full of Indians, or maybe like some Pakistanis, Nigerians, but mostly there are Indians. Like there are a lot of Indians already working on global projects. Then secondly, this time a lot of Indian projects, like made in India projects, are also very famous. For example, Polygon, which is the one of the major chains. Like that is Indian, that developed in India by Indians. Uh, and Instadap was developed in India, and a lot of other projects are being made. Like a lot of companies are being made, like product based companies, not just service based companies. The thing when Web 2 or Web 1 was emerging, was that India mainly had only service based companies like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, and all. We had very few product based companies. But since last decades, we have seen that entrepreneurship has been growing in India, and people are creating their own companies. And especially with cheap internet and very cheap edtech resources, mainly YouTube or cheap Udemy courses, and networking resources like LinkedIn and social media, it has become very easy for anyone to learn any skill, maybe learn coding or nuances of entrepreneurship, how to sell and create your own company. So the barrier to entry was never lower than this. So it's the lowest barrier to entry for anyone to either become a developer in Web3, or become a marketer, or become a product manager, or become an entrepreneur, and create your own Web3 company. So you have everything. Like if you want to do anything in Web3 from scratch, you can learn very easy. Go to YouTube, go to Udemy, learn it. Network, use LinkedIn, Twitter to network, and use internet and laptop that mostly most of the people have. So you don't need anything else. You don't need a certification, you don't need a degree. you don't need a computer science degree to become a web3 developer in a major project in the world, like, right? So you just need skills, you just need projects that you have created, and you can make it in web3.
No, awesome. The opportunities are endless, right? Just the capturing them. That's the Web3 word. So okay, guys, we'll open the floor to questions. So we have some questions in the chat that I'll go through. Amit, I think you raised your hand. Do you have any question you'd like to unmute and ask?
Yeah. Hi, Ankit. Great to have you on
Yeah,
this
man.
call. And recently we
Yeah.
connected on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
So, good content from you. I won't take much. So, this is a question which I'm asking from, I think, almost all the hosts. So, how
Okay.
much time do you spend usually on researching, reading use cases, or trying to make something of your own, if that's the case, versus coding? Because I feel I get disbalanced. If I read more, I feel like I'm lagging behind on the building part. And if I
Yeah.
build more, I think I'm just building and not exploring, because there is too much to read, too much content to consume. I
Yeah.
fall short of time always.
Yeah, I also face that exactly same problem, and I'm sure like people across different industries face this problem, like what to prioritize and what to not, because there's a lot of things to learn, a lot of resources. You get confused like where to learn from, what to learn, what all to consume. So just take one step at a time. Just decide, like, for the next few days, first of all, decide how much time you can dedicate to learning and for building, right? How much time you can dedicate to learning, and how much time can you dedicate to building. So just take one step at a time. If you think like you can just read one resource, say for news, just read that one news source, but read it consistently. Don't miss it. You don't need to read like 10 different resources. Every resource has different, has the same similar news. Just follow, maybe if you follow altcoin daily YouTube channel, it's just a 10-minute daily video. Just follow that. Don't do anything else. Even if you
Always.
don't have 10 minutes every day,
Mhm. Yeah.
read cryptonews.com's email list. It has like the three major news for that day. That is sufficient. For building, for example, you want to learn Solidity, JavaScript, etc., everything. Take one step at a time. First learn, either if you want to learn say JavaScript, first learn that, create a couple of projects in that so that you can understand. Then learn Solidity, then learn something else, maybe like how to use truffle and all. So take one step at a time. Don't get lost, don't start 10 things at a time and then end
Yeah.
up doing nothing. Like, this is a very common sense thing I'm saying, but
Correct.
not all of us understand this. So,
Yeah.
and we
No, definitely.
always understand with practice, right? So yeah, that is what I would suggest.
Yeah, because sometimes like I keep running, and at the end nothing is happening. So I think it's more
Yeah.
about building a habit and balancing things out. But good, great point, Ankit. Great point. I will think over it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Sure.
So Ashay, you raised the hand. Your question.
Yeah. Hi, Ankit. My question is,
Right.
what does a blockchain consultant do, and how can we become one?
Yeah. So first of all, for becoming a blockchain consultant or any consultant, first of all, you need to have worked in that. So I will actually not call myself a blockchain consultant. Whenever I work with someone, it's like a combination of two. Why consulting? Because it's a very new field, and even the founders, a lot of the founders, in fact, most of the founders don't know about like how blockchain exactly works, how Solidity exactly works. So you are not just a developer, you also have to consult them, like which blockchain to choose, whether they should choose Ethereum or Polygon, Avalanche, based on different use cases. You have to choose that, and then whether to use a centralized wallet or a decentralized wallet, even what kind of talent to hire, because they might not understand like what all skills are required to create this particular project. You also have to mention like how much talent to hire, how much employees to hire, how many employees to hire for each kind of skill set, right? So
Mhm.
that's why, like, if instead of being just a developer, you can become a whole package for the company. You can also consult them, you can advise them at every stage regarding the project, just for the blockchain development, right? Not like a business consultant, but a blockchain consultant. So that, you can provide a lot of value. So in order to become a blockchain consultant, you need to understand the entire ecosystem, not just coding. If you're great at Solidity, good, you can be a good developer. But in order to be an entire, like, entire package for a startup, you need to understand the entire ecosystem, different apps that are being used these days, what are the latest things happening, what are the latest kind of technologies being used, what was the latest feature in OpenSea or the latest feature in the latest version of Uniswap, etc. So you need to know everything, like what is happening in the space. So that way you can consult the blockchain, consult a blockchain or a new blockchain startup.
Okay, and like
Does
what
it
would be
answer?
the roadmap? Yeah, what would be the roadmap to approach employers for this kind of position?
Uh, I mean, I actually write on LinkedIn a lot, explaining different concepts. So like founders get some confidence that this guy knows like what to do. So they reach out to me and I help them in their projects. Uh, Other than that, you just reach out to different people and show your projects that you're a good developer and you can also help them with, even with other aspects as well regarding which blockchain to use, uh, what kind of people to hire and so on. You just explain them what kind of experience you have, because I was a project manager, I was a team manager, so I had experience of recruiting and managing a team as well. I also have experience in finance. So it all depends like what kind of experience you have, what kind of projects you have worked on, what kind of team you have worked with, and so on.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
That's a great answer.
glad it helped. Yeah, I think you are also connected with me on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, I follow your content. It's
Okay.
amazing. A lot of learning
Thank
from
you.
there.
Thank you. I think I also follow you
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
So I'd just like to add to what Ankit mentioned, Ashay, right? So blockchain consultant, you need multiple things, right? So as Ankit said, you need to understand the architecture, what goes into each protocol. I think most of the protocols, we are still at day zero, if you ask me on a personal note, because we haven't still figured out, the maximum TPS at this point of time. The transactions per second are still very low on most of the blockchains. That's why we are seeing all these concepts of GK rollup, Shardium on Ethereum. If you talk about Avalanche, they are discussing about subnets. It's like taking the transactions off the chain, doing the transaction and again getting this transaction onto the chain. So need to understand the pros and cons of each protocol and chain, like what they are up to. In terms of and also understanding the requirement of the customer or the client on the other side as well, right? Are they maximizing for the number of transactions? Are they maximizing for the efficiency, or are they do they want lower gas fee, or do they want security, right? Because at this point of time in the market, there isn't any single L1 or L2 which actually caters to all this four or five aspects, right? There is a compromise on one thing or the other. If you go and analyze these L1s or L2, like Polygon is good at gas fee, right? Lower gas fee, but there
Yeah.
might be some security, hacks or issues there. So
Right.
similarly, Ethereum is very good at security. Ethereum is super decentralized, but there is a problem with higher gas fee. So there are multiple things that needs to be taken into consideration. But I feel like after speaking with like a lot of folks at this point of time, people are associated with one blockchain and they're going picking up with that. Like most of the folks are focusing on like how can I pay lesser gas fee and then just going with that, right? Um, so just my thoughts, but you can go deep dive and as I said, like we are still at initial phases. Might be in the next coming few months and years, 2 years, 5 years down the line, we will get more clarity on which protocol, which blockchain works better, and like then I think we will be in a position to recommend to the clients, okay, hey, okay, these are your requirements, so map this to this particular blockchain, and this is the architecture. This is how you can actually build the application there. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so think of the early internet days when nobody knew how to use internet, and some company wanted to build their website. So if you knew how to use the internet, if you even told them the basics, like this is the URL address, this is how you use it, or maybe this is how you use some social media or e-commerce, etc. If you knew about all that, today it is like common sense. Everybody knows that. But in the beginning, even if you told Web3, also sorry, the founders these basic stuff, you would have been called a consultant. So that is what's happening in Web3 right now. We are just telling the basic things, uh, a few years down the line, like everybody will know it. So yeah, that's what we do.
Absolutely. So, Asim, you have a question, so feel free. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Just a minute. Just a minute. Let me turn on my video also.
Hey
Yeah, hi,
Asim,
Ankit.
how are you?
Hey, oh, you. Oh, I was just afraid that you might not recognize me.
No, no, obviously I recognize you, man.
Yeah. So to
How are
to
you?
the wider audience, I'm great. Thanks, Ankit. How are you?
Yeah, great, great, man.
Great, great. So I mean, it's been quite some time. So to everyone, Ankit is my senior from MBA, and Ankit used to teach us finance during our first year. So he technically got us all the internships and summer placements in the finance. So Ankit, my question to you is that I am currently working in the finance industry. So I'm working in
Yeah,
the Indian capital market, equity
yeah,
markets, right? So
yeah.
so my question to you is that so my workday is quite occupied, right? I do not get a lot of
Yeah,
time. First thing.
yeah,
Second thing, I find the industry to actually. I think the Indian capital markets are about to reach at a grinding halt in some time because technology is nowhere there. So my first question to you is, how do you see, or have you ever put a thought to it that how exactly Web 3.2 is going to transform the trading industry, particularly? Not
yeah,
just Indian, like say Bahar ka bhi, like UK ka, US ka, and you two have worked in the financial market, so you have a
yeah,
pretty good grasp over it. So how do you see Web 3.2 kind of evolving this? My second
yeah,
question to you is for a person like me. I mean, you both of us have been through the grind, right? It's difficult to carve out time. So,
yeah.
how many hours per day do you think people who are a little busy in the corporate jobs can actually take out from their every day and maybe become good Web3 developer? And in what span of time? So.
Yeah. So for your first question regarding blockchain being used in financial markets and trading, I think I recently read one article where JP Morgan is saying that they will use blockchain technology for trading. I think it's a good
Mhm,
use case. Although like I'm not expert in all these regulatory things. What all regulatory issues are required, what all regulatory clearances are required for this. But like I think it will be a good use case at least for example for the settlement of shares. For example, right now it takes
okay.
a few working days, right, for settlement. So in blockchain, it can be immediate. Plus, we have
Okay.
seen like things like ICO. So people are not creating shares; they're just creating their tokens, and they're just doing an ICO, like initial coin offering, right? So I can
Okay.
just buy the tokens of the company, and a lot of Web3 companies are doing it. Maybe they don't have
Okay.
shares, but they have tokens for their project. They've created
Okay.
tokens, and whoever
Mhm,
has the tokens, he holds the percentage of that company. This is happening. So now
mhm,
I'm not very sure like how ethical or what are the legal challenges or what are the regulatory challenges in this. So I will
mhm,
steer clear away from that, but definitely there's a use case that can be utilized, right? So yeah, these
mhm,
things are happening. A lot of DeFi apps are coming up, like for lending, borrowing, for yield
mhm,
farming, for so people are using those still, but
mhm,
like a lot of hacks happen in those DeFi apps. So like I wouldn't advise everyone to use it without understanding the risk. But yeah, these
mhm,
things are coming up, and with time it will get better as and when smart contracts start getting more secure, these things will
mhm,
grow. DeFi will grow, I guess. uh, for your second question, you asked how much time we can dedicate. So for becoming a developer, it depends. If you are coming from a completely no coding background like me, you'll first have to learn web development, and it will be a painful journey, because if you look at Web3 directly, they will assume that you know certain things about Web2. So you'll need to master Web2 first. For example, using basic command line interfaces. So
mhm,
Web3 tutorials will assume that you know that. So but you'll have to learn it before you learn Web3, right? So these
mhm,
are the challenges. So I learned because I left my job, so I learned Web 2 in basics of Web 2 like in 1 month. I'm still learning, but like the basics I learned in 1 month, and in
mhm,
15 days I learned Solidity, and then I started applying. So one and a half month was enough for me because I left my job. If you're
mhm.
if you're working at a job and maybe you can spend just one third of the time what I was spending, maybe you can do it in like 3-4 months, it is doable, like if you just learn the basics. But if you already know normal web development and you just want to learn Solidity, you can just easily do within a month. You can learn it. It's not, basics at least you can learn. Obviously, for mastering it, it will take you a lot of time. Like I'm still learning. It's been a year, full time working into it, and I'm still learning. But at least the
Mhm.
basics, to create basic projects and apply for jobs, you can learn in like 1 month to apply for either entry level jobs or even internships, etc.
Understood. 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 That was great. And Ankit, one last request, since everyone here doesn't know that you are a great stand-up comedian as well. So
You want me to tell a joke?
we've been dying for it. I mean, you performed on the fest as well, right? When you came back to the
Oh,
campus.
you were
So
there. No, actually,
yeah, I was
I've
there.
left it like since.
I was there in your stand-up show. I mean, I was there somewhere in the audience. But yeah, I mean, if there is something
As
that
I
I
said,
forget,
like I've tried different things in life. I like after college, I've tried sales, finance, analytics, being a team manager. I even tried stand up, but I left it for a reason. Right?
okay.
I left it for a reason. I mean, I wouldn't. Also, like since lockdown, like I haven't even performed at an open mic. So I've like completely left it. But yeah,
Mhm.
maybe someday if I go to a bar, there's an open mic, I would try to perform there.
Chalo, great, great. No problem. Thanks,
Yeah,
Ankit. Thanks for your words. Yeah.
yeah. Nice meeting after a long time, man.
Mm, nice,
I'll
nice,
catch.
nice meeting
Yeah, I'll catch up
you.
with you
Sure, we
later.
will. Yeah, yeah, we will. We will.
Okay, cool guys. And I think in the best interest of time, we'll take two more questions. And
Yeah.
Resham, what's your question? Go ahead.
Ankit, thanks, Kiran.
Hi, Risham.
So recently we launched an e-commerce shop tech kind of platform, very similar to Dukaan, Bikai, or Shopify in the Web 2 space. So we wanted to know how do we transit to the Web 3 using the Web 3 and how to make commerce possible or e-commerce possible in the Web 3 space. How easy or
Um,
how difficult it is, and what do we require in that transition?
First of all, like, what is your objective behind moving your business to Web3? Like, it's good to like use a Web3, but like this just because it's Web3, you shouldn't move your business to Web3 unless it solves a problem for you. So, is there any underlying problem that you're trying to solve?
No, not at the. There's no problem as such, but it's only like a differentiation aspect, because most of the existing shop tech players are yet in the Web 2 domain, and they're still, I would say, in the traditional digital Web 2 domain. And we wanted
Yeah.
to. So I was discussing with my team. So what can we do? And one of the things that came across is how do we stand out as a new platform, because they have obviously they have millions of thousands of shops opened on them and millions of transactions happening. So how do we
Okay.
differentiate? And one of the suggestions was moving to a Web 3 early adoption of Web 3 e-commerce platform.
So basically, you're trying to find any problem that Web3 might solve for your industry, right? So there can be different things, like a lot of supply chain companies are using Web3. They're using blockchain technology to keep a track of the items where they have been through, right? Because there's a lot of issue of like fake items, especially in the medicines industry and in the supply chain industry in general. So you can use blockchain to keep a track of where it has been, right? So you can do that. I have also seen some of the e-commerce platform, not in India, but maybe in Dubai, they are accepting cryptocurrencies and people can buy it. Or there's also one platform that I've seen that, if you buy something, you get some cryptocurrency in their wallet, maybe Bitcoin as a reward point. So these are different things happening. Like I'm not very much into the supply chain and retail business. But
More on the retail, more on the online commerce or e-commerce.
So, Resham, I think in the best interest of the time, let's take this offline. And feel free to get in
Okay.
touch with Ankit or LinkedIn. It might be
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
you can reach
And
out to me on LinkedIn, Risham.
yes.
We can discuss that.
I'll message you on LinkedIn, and regarding the gamification extension also on Web3 platform.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks a lot, Kiran. Thank you, Kiran. Thanks, Ankit. Connect
No,
with you soon.
perfect. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. I think we covered almost everything, Ankit. So thank you so much. And I did not know this angle, man. I know comedian. So we need a joke next time for sure. So awesome. Really love your journey. Cool. Thank you so much. I've been already getting feedback in the back end that this is stellar and people loved your energy, passion, and enthu. They learned a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks once again. And as I said, guys, if you don't follow, check out Ankit's LinkedIn. Give a follow. He puts stellar content each and every day. People have been following. Most of our community has been following him, and he's learning a lot of stuff. Cool. On that note, thanks once again. And any closure remarks, Ankit, and we'll close this.
I mean, just what I would like to say before leaving is like just start reading about it, because a few years down the line, maybe a few months down the line, it will be a part of everyone's personal as well as professional life. So just think of the internet in early 90s, it was just meant to be used by say researchers or scientists or the military, but now everybody is using the internet. We are using it for our work, for this interaction also we are using internet, and even for a personal life we are using social media for buying tickets, etc. So internet is everywhere. So similarly, like blockchain will be used everywhere. That is what I believe. And it's better that you start learning about it, start googling about it, follow some good YouTube channels to learn about it, and you'll be at a very advantageous position as compared to others when this thing becomes mainstream. And no matter what you are doing, what occupation you are in, whether you are in whether you're a marketer or a finance guy or a recruiter, you need to learn blockchain, because it will be a part of your work, like in a few years down the line. So just go home and start reading about it.
Absolutely love it. Yeah, have the first mover advantage. We are still day zero, long way to go. Get started.
Yeah.
So love that. Okay, cool. On that note, thanks everyone for joining. Stay tuned for more sessions from our end. You can check our website as well as join our Discord. And as I mentioned, give a follow to Ankit. And on that note, thanks again, Ankit. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks everyone.